Here are the 7 signs you may be slowly losing your partner and losing your relationship. Sign number 1, conversations are functional, but they're not emotional. You still talk, but it's mostly about logistics, schedules, kids, tasks, bills. It's sort of like a business relationship and you're coordinating life, but you're not really meeting each other. There's a difference between communication and connection. There's a difference between logistics and a relationship that is thriving. Are there conversations that allow you and your partner to really connect the dots about who you've been, who you are, who you've becoming, so that you know what your partner enjoys, what they don't enjoy, what they like, what they dream about, what they fantasize about? Are those maps still up to date? Do you and your partner have a clear pulse on what makes each other tick, hurt, and feel alive in your lives? This is the stuff of emotions, of connection, because when the connection fades, the relationship can still look fine on the outside, but feel empty on the inside. Sign number 2, you stop bringing things up when something hurts. And instead of saying something to each other, you begin to think, it's not worth it, they won't get it, or it'll just turn into another fight. So you don't speak up and they don't speak up, and then neither one of you are really talking about things. And so you're both cordial, but you're also not leaning in to check in, to talk, to smooth the rough patches out, or to really have that strong connection. That silence or that sense of, I don't want to bring things up to create conflict. I notice that there's some distance, but I don't want to get into another fight and I want things to be good, or maybe I should just hold back longer. That's someone who's learning honesty doesn't lead to connection here. And once that belief sets in, we're choosing silence over conflict. We're choosing withdrawal over possibility. Sign number 3, repair isn't happening. Look, every couple messes up. The question isn't, do couples argue? Do they have some tough moments? That's just part of being in a relationship. The question is, what happens after those hard moments? After those uneasy or rocky situations, do you and your partner return and do you still hear things from each other like, hey, that came out wrong, or let me try to see your point of view, can we have a reset? That's what we want to hear. And if we're not hearing that inside the relationship, then again, we're choosing distance or civility over connection. In the Gottman research, they found that relationships don't fail because of conflict. They fail when repair stops happening. They fail when couples stop repairing and checking in with each other. When repair disappears, every conflict leaves residue. And that builds distance, that builds frustration, that builds resentment. And then before you know it, you're sitting in the same room with a chasm or a divide between you and your partner of built up tensions, frustrations, resentments, and unspoken hurts. In my 20 years of working with couples, I've seen a lot of amicable and friendly relationships, but that's the exterior. That's closeness dressed in politeness, manners, and a sort of muted agreement that says, we don't address conflict here. And the result? You grow apart. You feel less for each other. You feel less of the passion. You feel less of the anger. You just feel less for each other overall. Sign number 4. Small things start to feel big. You start thinking, why does everything they do annoy me? Why do all these small things feel so big? And that irritation, it goes deeper than it looks. When researchers talk about the things that couples fight about the most, they'll often say things like, couples fight about small things the most. They fight about trivial things the most. And why is that? Why are couples fighting about small things almost more than anything else? And it's because those small things are where we put our bigger grievances. So a small irritation about the dishes isn't really about the plates or the sink. It's about no repairs, misconnections, held in frustrations. Small issues become big because there's stuff being held in and not discussed. From a cognitive behavioral therapy perspective, your brain starts creating negative meaning patterns, or in couples work, We call it negative sentiment override. So when something small happens, we override it with a bigger, more negative sentiment, or something potentially innocuous, not harmful happens, and we override it with more negative feelings. So if my partner's 5 minutes late, with negative sentiment override, I might say, they don't care about me, which is something happens and we override it with strong negative emotions or a strong negative narrative about our partner. So your partner might be 5 or 10 minutes late and we think, there she is again. She doesn't care about time. She doesn't care about respecting our agreed upon dates. Or something even good happens and we override it with more negative thoughts. Your partner gives you a gift and you think, there's my partner again, giving me a gift that I don't care about. My partner doesn't really think about me. My partner's not romantic. That is negative sentiment override. And if you start noticing this, pay attention. Sign 5. You're stuck in a pursue, withdraw cycle. One person pushes, we need to talk. The other one pulls away and shuts down. The first partner pushes even harder. The second one withdraws even more. And now both of you feel misunderstood. This cycle is one of the most studied patterns in relationships, and you can learn about it by checking out my other videos on avoidant anxious attachment cycles. If this pattern keeps repeating, it creates emotional escalation, duress, and it creates that distance and disconnect really fast. Sign number 6, your partner feels less alive than they used to. They're less expressive, less playful, less open, less intimate, less close. They don't light up the same. And that matters because before relationships break, they oftentimes flatten. If intimacy is passion, the end of a relationship is monotony, boredom, and reduced feelings, whether they're up or down, more of a flat feeling with each other. Sign number 7, you feel alone in the relationship. If being in the relationship feels lonelier than being alone, that's pretty darn serious, isn't it? To feel like the worst kind of loneliness is I have my partner, but we feel so far apart. That experience of I'm with you, but I don't feel like I'm with you. I feel like you're here, but you're not really here. And that makes a relationship feel more like a roommate situation, which is the worst, to lose that intimacy. Seeing these signs doesn't mean that your relationship is over, but it does mean pay attention, lean in. Don't minimize these overall feelings inside the relationship. Most couples aren't failing and don't fail because of one big moment. They fail because they normalize the disconnection, because they get quiet and don't bring up those hard things. If this feels familiar, don't wait to start the conversation. Start the repair. Tell the truth, lean in, study some work like the Gottman work or watch some of my other videos that break down attachment cycles, wounds and pain in the relationship, and what really is repair. Couples lose a relationship piece by piece, day by day, month and year by year, and as disheartening as that can be, this is also positive because it means you can build the relationship back day by day, moment by moment, and month by month. And if you start paying attention to these signs now, it won't take that long and it won't be that hard. I believe in relationships because I know personally from the data and the research and the work that I do and my own personal life, there is nothing more powerful in your life that affects your health, your wealth, and every other facet of life and your happiness than your relationship. Pay attention to these signs and maybe send this video to your partner and say, do you notice any of these signs in our partnership? Can we talk?